On this episode of the Pit Lane Collective Racing, I gesticulate wildly. Try out some bold new racing lines. And give myself a pep talk.
Just don't crash on lap one.
Hello and welcome back to the Pit Lane Collective Racing. We are back at Three Sisters in Wigan yet again for round 2 of their individual endurance karting championship. We had a little bit of a depressing race last time out. If you haven't already, check out the video on my channel about that. And we finished in P7, and as it was the first round of the championship, we are 7th in the overall standings, which is not great, but not terrible. Today, I'm hoping to make a bit of an improvement and see if I can close the gap to the guys ahead. Fortunately, the track conditions are much better this time than the first round. The track is pretty much dry, although that didn't stop some people finding the limits very early on in qualifying. Although the track itself was dry, it had been raining earlier in the day, so the grass was wet, and there was one track of water running across one of the fastest corners on the circuit, just at the end of this back straight here. You're chucking the car into the right-hander at about 55 miles an hour, and suddenly you lose all grip, so we did have to modify our driving styles just a little bit to make sure that we could get through that corner safely. Nothing too much eventful happened in qualifying, so let's skip forward to my fastest lap of the session. Alright, let me get my best crofty impression on and let's go for a qualifying lap of Three Sisters Club Circuit. Keeping it flat through that right-hander paddock bend, and then just a little lift as we go through the turn 2 onto the Rogerson straight. Now I'm trying to spot my turning point. This is flat all the way through here. Just a tiny little lift as we take the right and stay very close to the curb. Don't use the full width of the track as we go through Luna. Now we're on the Conrod straight. I can see on the Delta that I'm up and I'm gaining time as I go down this straight. Deploy a little bit of human DRS just to try and get even more speed, and then we have to flick the car in through this fast right-hander on the S's, fastest corner on the circuit, and I have to get the turning done before the middle of that corner just because there's that patch of water. We've done all right through there, and then I gain the most time through this final corner. That final hairpin is deceptively tricky, and it's been the bane of my life for so many races, so I was happy to sort of finally kind of half do a decent job through there, and we set a 51.6, which felt pretty solid.
Well, felt quick. Whether it was or not remains to be seen.
I always have those sorts of doubts. Even if I feel like I've nailed a lap, I'm always like, yeah, someone's definitely gone way quicker. But you know what? Out of 20 people, we qualified P6, which wasn't quite as lofty as last time's P3, but it still felt good, and I still felt like there were some good points on the table here if we got a good start. Time to take to the grid and be very serious with my race preparation, really stay in my own head and just focus on, no, I'm talking nonsense, just wave at everyone, it's much more fun. I also had time for a quick chat with myself just before the race got underway.
Right, come on then. Let's have a go. Just don't crash on lap 1.
And so it all comes down to this. Trying to make a good start, trying to have a good reaction to that red light going green, and trying not to lose about a billion places like last time. Let's see how it goes. In my head, at this point, I was like, oh god, not again. In 2 corners, we've gone from P6 to P11. It is lap 1 of a 30-minute race, though, so let's not get too despondent. Let's get our heads down, let's chase the guys ahead, and let's see if we can pick them off and make our way forwards, gain those places back. A double overtake into the final corner of the first lap put me back up into P9. And now I was within touching distance of the guys ahead, so I just had to keep my nose clean, get some good laps in, and let's see if we can close them down. Flash forward onto lap 3, and that's exactly what we've managed to do as we've caught up to P8 in kart number 11. Sat in his slipstream down the Conrod Straight, I'm just thinking, when is the best opportunity to try and make a move on this guy? I know that there's that patch of slippy water, tarmac, in this fast right-hander in the S's, and unfortunately I did hit it and run a little bit wide. Rattled the fillings loose a little bit there, but now I'm right on his tail, and I think it's time for another send into the final corner. Job done. P8, let's go. Over the next few laps, the two karts ahead of me started to battle furiously with each other, and they were both side by side through multiple corners. And this was exactly the opportunity I needed. So lap after lap, I just got my head down and set personal bests, and just clawed my way onto the back of this battle. Until lap 9, where it officially became a 3-kart scrap. Me and kart number 4 especially were so closely matched that the racing was just great fun. As the laps ticked by, we stayed close together, and small little battles between two of the three of us kicked off at any moment. This was honestly some of the most fun racing I've ever done while karting. It was hard racing, but it was fair, and room was always left, so you were never worried about being squeezed off the track. I even got to throw in my now signature move down the inside into the final corner. He wasn't about to take that lying down though. He got a better run out of the final corner and came down the inside on me at Paddock Bend. We both left just enough room for each other, and we both came out of this unscathed. Did I mention this was so much fun? But while me and kart number 4 were having a blast battling each other, I did start to realise that the guy in the red suit ahead of us was starting to scamper off into the distance. So I thought I could signal to kart number 4 and let him know that maybe we should work together. But he didn't see my first gesture, so I thought, oh well, that's alright, I'll try again in a bit. Looking back on this now, I have absolutely no idea why I thought he would know what I meant just by waving my hand around. But, you know, I tried it anyway.
We're losing time, Sat. Fighting each other, we're letting him get away.
My point was that maybe we could team up and then we could start to close back up to the guy in the red suit, because we were all a similar pace, and maybe with a bit of slipstream and a bit of bump drafting we could close that gap and then make it a 3-kart battle again. But how do you communicate that to someone while in a go-kart, wearing a helmet and gloves doing 50 odd miles an hour? I have no idea, so, you know, I tried. What are you doing past Alex? Now I've managed to convince kart number 4 that he's got an absolute lunatic driving around behind him. Let's rejoin our battle and see how it goes. We're also catching up to the first group of lapped traffic, which was actually going to play a bigger part in the outcome of this race than I first initially expected, to be honest. Flash forward a couple of laps and kart number 4 runs wide into Luna, which gives me the run on him down the Conrod Straight. Now, everyone knows only amateurs run wide at Luna, which, you know, explains why on the, 2 laps later I ran wide at Luna and gave him the place back again. I was actually kicking myself after this one because I thought I might manage to hold it ahead of him, but no, it just seems like we were fated to keep battling with each other forever.
Stop doing that.
Unfortunately though, after that I just seemed to lose touch with kart number 4. Hope this guy was okay. But yeah, I lost touch with kart number 4. I did have one little trick up my sleeve though, which might have brought me back into the battle with him, and that was the lapped traffic. It can be a double-edged sword and I could end up losing out as well, but I figured that if I could cut through the traffic cleanly and he had a bad run through it, I might be able to make some gains. So I just got my head down and tried to make sure I passed the back markers in the best way possible. Bollocks. Yeah, I'll be honest, my race was kind of over from that point on. Here's me just going past that back marker and just letting him know, no hard feelings. I'll be honest, looking back at that incident, that's totally on me. I threw the car in a bit too aggressively. I expected him to turn tighter. He probably had no idea I was there. I was right behind him in his blind spot. So note to myself for the future, be careful and be, clear when you're passing back markers. So yeah, that was basically my race. I lost a whole heap of time. I had mud all over my helmet, mud all over my visor, my clothes, my gloves, my feet were soaked. The car was starting to sputter a little bit as well because I probably filled the engine with mud and water and God knows what else. And yeah, I was just kind of lonely now. I even managed to concede another place, rather depressingly, on the final corner of the final lap of the race because I couldn't see properly out of the helmet due to all the mud and stuff. So, what a race of two halves. We had some cracking racing there, and for it to end like that, I was gutted. And to make matters worse, my camera died, so I can't even show you that final overtake on the final lap. Or my heartbroken trudge back into the pits again, or me climbing back out of the cart and just being covered in mud and gunk and sat in a puddle of water. Yeah, can't show you any of that, unfortunately, but, maybe that's for the best. And what about the championship, I hear you ask? Well, we started today in 7th place, and due to our beautiful performance, we are now in 9th. They actually apply the drop round immediately, so as this carries on, hopefully our consistency will pay off and maybe we'll gain a few places through that. But right now we're on 34 points and we are P9 in the standings. Oh dear. Until next time then, guys, that is it from me. Thank you very much for joining this video. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you to all the new subscribers who've come along since the last video, and a massive shout out to Go-karting for sharing my channel in one of his videos. Dude, you're a legend. Hopefully we get to share the track sometime. Yeah, that's it. I'm going to waffle on for way too long now, so I'm just going to cut this video here. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time. Goodbye.